Good afternoon from the Goodwood Motor Circuit, and welcome to the 31st running of the RAC Tourist Trophy. Once again, the Sussex Circuit plays host to a splendid field of machinery, with the thunderous Group 7 prototypes joined by a fine selection of sports cars contesting this round of the British Sportscar Championship. Today's race carries particular significance, for it is the penultimate round of the season, and the championship battle is finally poised. With only one opportunity remaining after today, the drivers know that a strong result here at Goodwood could prove decisive in their bid for the title.
Well, hello and welcome back to our 1966 sports car season. It feels like an age. I think it's been about 3 weeks, but the weather has been nice in the UK, so I thought I'd make the most of it. And the weather seems to be quite good here at Goodwood as we continue our British Sportscar Championship campaign with Peter Sutcliffe in his dark green full GT40s. Get a little bit of contact and we're going to understeer into McLaren, but Rubben's racing, and we shall continue as we get all sorts of sideways as the circuit is cold, and so are tyres and brakes. So we shall be doing 35 laps of the Goodwood circuit for the Tourist Trophy, which I don't believe happened in 1966. I think the last one was 1965. But 1966 was sort of the last season, or the last year for racing at Goodwood, because the organisers at the time didn't want to put chicanes in to make the circuit safer for the ever faster cars being developed throughout the 60s, 70s and so on. So unfortunately after 66 the circuit sort of went a bit quiet and nothing really happened for a good couple of decades, apart from a few bicycle events and I think something to do with the Olympics. Nothing really happened until the Goodwood revival came along and saved it sort of around the mid-noughties. But again, Goodwood is one of those circuits, like most British racing circuits, came about from an RAF airfield from World War II. I think this was a relief airfield for another RAF base nearby. And since then, the outer loop of the airfield has created this wonderful flying circuit. I really do like the Goodwood circuit. It's not particularly... there's not a lot of elevation, what I'm trying to say. But the circuit just lends itself to these sweeping corners that just let the cars drift, and it's wonderful when you get it right. But hopefully we'll get it right for 35 laps at least. But I guess just a refresher, I suppose, for what we've done and where we are going. So this is the penultimate race for the British Sportscar Championship. So far we have completed Snetterton, Alton Park, Silverstone International Trophy, Crystal Palace and Silverstone Martini Trophy. We're here at Goodwood now for the Tourist Trophy, and then we are at Brands Hatch for the Guards Trophy for the finale. Now, at the moment, we are leading the championship, the British Sportscar Championship, in our class by 2 points. So we're currently on 31 points. Richard Attwood in a Jaguar XJ13 is on 29 points, and David Piper in his Ferrari 365 P2 is on 28 points. And again, not too far behind is Norman Lewis in his Jaguar XJ13 on 24 points. Now those Jaguars came in on round 3. So they have been pretty dominant to catch up to, like myself and Richard Attwood, who have competed at all the events. So it's a pretty close title race. We did qualify quite well today, and we have gapped them. Wasn't sure how we were going to do here at Goodwood, because I thought we would have done well at Silverstone, but those 2 races, one was in the wet and the strategy didn't pay off, and the second race, the Jaguars was so fast that they ended up being 20 seconds ahead, I think, by the end. So they are lightning quick, but the short circuits really fairly well out, and so does the Ferrari. But at the start of the season, the 4 GTs were very strong. We had Nick Cousins and Oak Liddell on the podium, but they've sort of fallen off, so they're sort of outside the championship fight. So really only sole remaining GT40 to see if we can win. Now I haven't noticed there is a Jag in the pits, and has been in the pits pretty much since the start, so he must have had a almighty accident or some sort of reliability issue, which, if that's Richard Attwood, then that is very good for us. If it's Norman Dewis, then it shouldn't make much of a difference to us, but we are currently leading, and this is what we need to do. And the race itself today will be interesting, because we're only just shy of being able to do this without stopping. I think we're maybe like a lap and a half off. Now, there's sort of 2 ways you can look at it. You can either do a bit of fuel saving during the race and do a no-stop, but I don't know really how to do that, so instead we have gone for a 1-stop, and we shall stop on lap 20, and then that'll leave us 15 laps to the end. Now, I don't know how the others will fare. I imagine the Jaguars have quite a large V12 that they will probably be quite thirsty, so I imagine they won't be able to do the distance, or maybe they have large fuel tanks. Whereas the Ferrari, however, who'd be quite light and nimble, possibly could do a no-stop or very, very late on stop. So he's currently 12 seconds behind us, David Piper. So we'll see how that works out. And of course, in a race with many, many cars in different classes, I always find myself in a gap with no one else. So it's just me driving, which doesn't make for the most exciting racing, but unless I do something silly like that. But we just need to keep it clean. Let's say I have done a Goodwood revival style video. If you want to go check that out after this, then the link's up there. So I do know this circuit, and I have been to revival twice or 3 times maybe. It's if you haven't been to the Goodwood revival, it's certainly an event to go to. It's even just, I know the ticket's quite expensive now, but it's one of those sort of bucket list ones, honestly. So if you can, definitely save up for it and make even just a day of it. You won't be able to see all of it, I think, in a day. You'll be quite pushed for time, but you can definitely see and experience enough of it to know that it's a world-class event. I mean, you know, you could just go for the car park before you get in all the pre-66 cars that get to park at the front. I mean, you could just spend the day walking around looking at those. So yeah, so that is our British Sportscar campaign, but that's not the only campaign that we're doing, because we're doing quite a few now. So the race before this we had created the Pacific Sportscar Championship, which takes all the non-championship races that happened in 1966 in Australia and Japan, and we put them into a championship, so there's a way to score points, as well as we added another race, which was the Bathurst 12 Hours, that obviously didn't happen in 1966, it didn't happen for quite a while then. It was very much touring cars only, and I wanted to find out, why was that? Why didn't GT cars race at Mount Panorama? Well, we did find out why, so if you want to find out why as well, then again, there's a link up there, and you can go watch that after this one. But we didn't do so well, and neither did anyone else, so I'll leave it at that. So we've got some making up to do today, and certainly a win would do that. So the Pacific Sportscar Championship consists of 5 races, so it's very similar to what we're doing here, the British Sportscar Championship, where it's a host of non-championship races, and we've just put them together and made a point scoring system, and we'll crown a champion at the end. So the Pacific Sportscar Championship started with Bathurst, then I've switched the schedule around. Normally I show the schedule at the end of each event, but I've sort of moved it around a bit. So the other races include the Tourist Trophy at Fuji, the Tourist Trophy at Longford in Australia, the Japanese Grand Prix. Back then the Grand Prix wasn't exclusively to Formula 1. And then the final race will be the Surfers Paradise 12 Hours on the Gold Coast. So they're all quite big races, those ones. They're all going to be about an hour at least. And there's quite a nice eclectic mix of cars from Japan and Australia, so I'm looking forward to that championship. Of course, we're currently also doing the World Sports Car Championship, where we did the Daytona 24 Hours, which was one of the first 3 races I think we did this year. And we finished, as we are going to take a bumpy ride across the grass and not quite into the field there. As we get going, oh dear, no, what am I? This is not what I need. Right, tyres are dirty. Let's not do anything silly like that again. So yeah, so we're also in the World Sports Car Championship, and we've done Daytona, and we finished 10th overall, and we were 3rd in class. So that wasn't a bad result. And again, that was in it was in this car. And then the next race for the World Sports Car Championship will be the Sebring 12 Hours, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So, as far as the schedule is concerned at the moment, obviously we're here at Goodwood, then it's Brands Hatch for the finale of the British Sports Car Championship, and then we're on to Sebring for the World Sports Car Championship. And then while doing my research, I noticed that there were some other sports cars events across the globe and series that we can enter. So we have now also entered the United States Road Racing Championship, which again, very similar style to the British Sports Car Championship, where there are 2 classes. Here it's the Group 7 Can-Am cars, and then the class that we're in is Group 6 and 4 for sports prototypes and touring cars. Oh, sorry, not touring cars, GT cars, Grand Tourer cars. The US sort of made it a bit simpler. You either had the over 2 litre class and the under 2 litre class. And those races will consist of Stardust in Las Vegas, Riverside, Laguna Seca, Bridgehampton, Watkins Glen, Kent, Mid-Ohio and Road America. So those are some great classic American circuits that I sort of didn't realise that we were going to be missing out on if I hadn't done that series. That is another sports car series that we'll take part in. At the moment, we'll be in another Ford GT40. I think it's Comstock Racing. But yes, again, it will be against similar Lola T70s, McLaren M1Bs, a couple of Genie Mark 10s. What's XB? It's not 10, is it? That's like 13, is it, or something? Hamel SR3, a couple of Ferraris in there as well. So it's quite a nice eclectic mix, and a load of Porsche 906s for the under 2 litre class. They were very popular. So that might just be a 906 class, actually. Depending on how many spaces I get per track, because I think I've got at least like 50 cars that I've submitted, but I think the track's going to take about 32, so I'm going to have to lose about 20 of them. So that is another series that we'll be taking part in throughout this year. And then, of course, not forgetting that during the Sebring weekend, Sebring, just how when I say it, when we're doing the Sebring weekend, it'll also mark 60 years of the Trans Am touring car racing series started. They did let's go off once again. They did a 4-hour race alongside the 12 hours of Sebring weekend. So we'll also be doing some touring cars in a Ford Mustang, as this year we'll be mostly focusing, we'll be focusing on Ford because they had quite a dominant season outside of just Le Mans, which is obviously the highlight. But they pretty much mastered everything on 4 wheels, pretty much. Perhaps the exception of Formula 1. I don't think their engines were particularly reliable. But we're not focusing on F1, we're just doing sports cars, so we should then also be doing Can-Am, because obviously, again, we'll be celebrating 60 years of Can-Am. So we'll find a Ford-powered Can-Am car of some sort, as the current, what would be considered Can-Am cars, are now pitting just after 13 laps. So as I say, if they need to pit again, and if we can keep up with them, we could get a very good overall score. Not that it really matters points-wise. I don't think we're going to win this Tourist Trophy outright, but we're certainly going to give it a try. We'll go down the inside of this Lola. What's that? That's a Brabham up ahead. So yeah, so we'll be doing the Can-Am series later on in the year, because I don't think that started till September, I think, of 1966. It started very late in the season. I don't know which way that one's going to go. It started very late in the season. I guess sort of after everything else finished. The British Sportscar Championship finished quite early on. I think the final round at Hockenheim didn't really happen. So after Le Mans, you know, got these top drivers with not much to do. So you might as well, if you're going to start a series, you might as well do it when everyone's free. So I think that's pretty much it for all the races that we're doing. So the main one we're doing is the British Sportscar Championship, even though we've only done one race so far. But yes, we're mostly driving for Peter Sutcliffe. I think in the previous races I've said that after Sebring he doesn't race this car, and I'll have to find another seat, but actually I was telling a porcupine, I just missed it in the research. So he does race in the 1,000 kilometres of Spa and 1,000 kilometres at the Nürburgring. So I've got so we go off again. Oh, that's that like slow down stuff. I haven't seen that in the game in ages. Not one of the Formula 1 games had that. Every time you went off, it would like limit the throttle or something. Anyway, as I was saying, yes, I don't need to find a seat for a lot of races, but I do need to find a seat for some other races. So, Sebring will continue in this car. I think that the chassis number is P/1009, which is this dark green Ford GT40 owned by Peter Sutcliffe. So he did a lot of the British Sportscar Championship and then most of the World Sportscar Championship. So I just need to find a racing seat for the 1,000 kilometres of Monza and the Targa Florio. Now I only think one GT40 went to the Targa Florio, and that was the Mad French, the Ford France guys. That was chassis 1007. So we'll probably go with them. We'll see who we can persuade from Monza. It depends on what results we get for these next couple of races. Goodwood, Brands Hatch, Sebring. And I think then after Sebring, we'll stay in America a little bit. So we'll do the Trans Am as well, and we'll do the Mid-America Trans Am as well. So we'll do 2 races of Trans Am. We'll then move on to United States Road Racing Championship. We'll start at Stardust and then move on to Riverside in chassis 1049. And then we can find a seat for Monza, and then we'll basically then stay in Europe for the majority of the next couple of races, all the way through to finish the World Sportscar Championship. So I need to find a seat for Le Mans as well. Again, depending on how these next races go, so it's quite crucial that we certainly recover from our last race that we did at Bathurst and get some good points, and hopefully a championship here at the British Sportscar Championship. We've got some lap traffic now. A couple of Cobras we put in because they did race in 65. As one of the Lolas there is off. That should be another spot for us. It doesn't look like that Jack's going to return at all. And there's a fellow GT40 of either Nick Cousins or Eric Liddell who are both driving a nice bright red GT40. So we put a lap on him. Now they've hit in lap 17. So that's not too far outside what we're doing, really, is it? We've got a couple more laps before we come in. So they should be alright until the end now. But it doesn't look like they're much of a fight for us. So yeah, so I'll just quickly run through what we're going to be doing for the next couple of races. So it's Brands Hatch next. Then we're up for the finale, British Sportscar Championship. Then we're off to Sebring for the 12 hours, as well as it's a double header with the Trans Am 4 hours. Then we'll continue in Trans Am for the Mid-America race, and then we move on to the United States Road Racing Championship with Stardust in Las Vegas, and then also Riverside. And then we'll return to Europe for Monza and the Targa Florio, pop back over to the States for the Laguna Seca United States Road Racing Championship, and then return to Europe for Spa and Nürburgring off to the States again for Bridgehampton for the United States Road Racing Championship, and then back to Europe for Le Mans and Hockenheim, the World Sportscar Championship. And then from then on out, we're pretty much stateside. We've got Watkin Glen, VIR, Mid-Ohio, Marlborough, Motor Racing Circuit, Road America, Green Valley, and then we start off our return to our Pacific Sportscar Championship. So that's Longford, Suzuka Fuji, so it's Paradise, and also we start our Can-Am series as well. Montreblunt, Bridgehampton again, Mosport, Laguna Seca, Riverside, Stardust. So races we would have raced at, but perhaps not as a faster car as these Can-Am cars. Again, that's quite far away, but I'm excited to see what happens throughout this season. So that's pretty much it, or where we've been and where we're going. But again, subject to change because I've changed it all the time. I'm pretty sure I said Fuji would be next, but we've pushed the Pacific Sportscar Championship back to sort of the end of the season, along with Can-Am, and then we're just mostly going to focus on the World Sportscar Championship for the moment. As we tried to go up the inside of that Ferrari, but he's not having any of it. You say that it's pretty quick, that Ferrari. I mean, we are coming up to lap it, but as we get that, well, I didn't anticipate him slowing down that much at that corner, but again, I do take that too fast most of the time anyway, so that is on me. That could have been a big one. As we are coming up to our pit stop window now. Ideally you want a quite quick in-lap, and this isn't going to be one of those. So maybe I'll give it another lap once we get past and down the... Is this the Levant Straight? I think it is. And there we go, nice and easy. Well, we don't want to hit that rumble strip because that really just wants to turn you around. As we go through the chicane once again. And we'll try and do a nice quick flying lap. We've got Jack Brabham behind us now, so he must have either pitted or was making a recovery drive from the back. And that's another 4GT40. Oh, we just slightly overcooked it on the exit there, but we kept it on now. This will be interesting to see where the other cars come out, whether we'll be some distance behind a certain David Piper or Richard Attwood. Haven't really seen any of the Jags actually, apart from that one there who's in the pits. I haven't seen our title rivals really, which has been a good thing, but now we are second guessing where we're going to come out. Now luckily I've just caught the other Ford GT40 at just the right moment, because we will now come to the pits and we'll sit for what will feel like an age to get some tyres and fuel, and we'll just have to watch who goes by. There goes GT40. Anyone else? That's the Daytona going past. I'm still waiting. That's the Porsche. Ah, there's David Piper. Right, okay. And I think it's just some of the Can-Am and other classes. So again, still no Jag, but we've now got 14 or 13 laps or so to go catch David Piper. By the end of this lap, I imagine we'll probably be about 10 seconds ahead once we get up and going. Which I think at the current pace that we've been going, we should be able to catch him towards the end if he's doing a no stop. But there's a little bit of traffic up ahead actually, so this might not be as straightforward as we think it's going to be. It never is. And I'm sure, as I always do, towards the end of the race I'm going to make a stupid mistake. Right, again, I haven't seen any of the Jag, apart from the one who was in the pit. That other Jag, I'm pretty sure I'm first in class, apart from now David Piper, obviously. Oh, is that so? Oh, was that a green car in the distance going in the pits? I can't see over the pit wall. He has pitted, right, okay. So he's doing pretty much the same as what we're doing. So, as far as I'm aware, we're in the lead of our class, which is great for the championship. But I just haven't seen that other Jag, as all these lapped cars are getting a bit too close for comfort there. Or as we take more curb than we would have liked. Now a bit of free air for us, so we can put some lap times in. Yeah, I'm just concerned about where the Jag is, because I don't want to feel like we've won and it turns out that he's been in front of us this entire time. But I haven't seen anyone else's name pop up. Nor have I seen them at all. Unless they're both in the pits, but I'm pretty sure when we went to the pits only one was in there, so... I mean, we've got quite a few Lolas now being turned around. And in the wall there. So it might be another McLaren washout, which it has been for the last couple of races now. I do try and balance even the top class cars, because it was the Lolas that were dominating for the first half the season effectively, and then I've done a bit of BOP, and the McLarens have come back, but they've pretty much for the last race or two taken the top 5 positions, but maybe bar one Lola sneaking in either a 5th or a 4th place. But yes, I'll use that same BOP for the other multi-class touring car, a sports car races. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a driver now, because I think some of the Lolas were forward-powered, and even some of the McLarens were forward-powered. So if I'm just doing it by a forward-powered chassis, then that should be fine. And again, the only reason why I'm really just doing it forward for 66 is because, again, I've said this a few times before, they did have quite an exceptional 66 season across all forms of racing. I think maybe bar F1. I think NASCAR they did quite well. I'm not entirely sure about this IndyCar or kart, wherever it would have been. It would have been Intercar, wouldn't it, in 66. Now I would have a quick look up, but at the moment there isn't a straight long enough for me to quickly type in, and also I think someone's unplugged the internet because I can see a telehandler outside or cherry pick outside and I keep getting notifications saying where's your internet. So we go down the inside of the Cobra there. We got the leaders have got 10 laps to go. I think they've lapped us, or have they? You haven't seen the blue flag unless they lapped us in the pits. And actually, I don't think I've actually seen any McLarens apart from the start. And all the loaders have seemed to have decided to crash out halfway through. Oh, there's, okay, just as we talk about them, there's a blue flag and a blue McLaren. So they're just coming in to lap us now. So we've got... So we've basically got 9 laps to go. And things are looking pretty good for us. I think this will certainly cement our position to be a top, or for the championship in the British Sportscar Championship, which just leaves us down to Brands Hatch to, I think effectively, as long as we stick on the podium, that should be good enough for us, and that should hopefully open up a lot more opportunity in other Ford badged race cars to the World Sports Car Championship. Again, it's been a perfect day here at Goodwood. We haven't made too many mistakes. Looks like it's the best of taking that corner all race, which is nice after 26 laps. Yeah, I know what's going on with those Lotus 40s. They keep disappearing until you get right on them. Right, we're 22 seconds ahead, and we're 12 seconds behind Skip Scott in his early, which I don't think we're going to close. But P7's pretty good. I think it's probably the highest we've finished, as the McLaren nearly takes us off. That was quite an aggressive move, but he wants to get a move on, I suppose, but that could have cost him his race. Who's the blue McLaren? What number is it? Number 6? I haven't got number 6 written down, so that's I think it might be Keith St John or John Condley. Oh, we've then got a Ferrari there as well, on the 250 LMs. So now we're up to P5. Now I said that we weren't gonna have a chance of winning this, but I mean, I guess we might as well keep going, because for some reason the AI have decided to park it up at the chicane. And I say the loaders were quicker in qualifying, as we misjudged that completely and don't account for the slightly slower car of the Shelby Daytona. So we get more blue flags. Which way are we going to go? This side. He's going to put up a bit of a fight. They're quite quick, those cars. As we come up to another Ferrari. of Dick Prethio, I think I pronounced that completely wrong, but he looks to be getting out our way, so that's quite handy. Although he was, and then actually changed his mind. Let him chuck it round the outside. Hopefully he's not there. He's not there. That's one of the red McLarens. That's either going to be Bruce himself or Chris Amon. Right, we're going up to another Brabham, and I'm not entirely sure why I chose that line. It's not. I'm already quite tired because that is as we fit the barrier for the first time. A slight nick, but never mind. Yes, I very much didn't wait and chuck it down the inside because that made a complete meal of that. Now we're still in P5. And Skip Scott is still 19 seconds behind us with 5 laps to go. So our P5 overall would be pretty exceptional, I think. Anything else could happen, so we're really not too far off the podium. If AI misjudges it through that chicane and adds to the car park that's currently there, that'd be quite something. As I say, looking through the results, it wasn't too uncommon for a GT40 to be on the podium against the McLarens and the Lolas, because obviously they were built for sprint racing. And obviously these GT40s and Ferraris and stuff were built for endurance racing. So reliability was certainly a key factor in racing back then. Obviously we don't quite have... Oh dear, as we completely sideswiped the chicane as we're talking about reliability. I was going to say, we don't really have reliability to worry about, but actually I think the AI take care of that themselves by, well, like we see at the chicane, they're all parked up. And sometimes they glitch out and get stuck in the pit, so I guess that adds a bit of randomness to who scores points and so on. I think it's the first time we've seen one of the Jags. Again, not an uncommon sight here at Goodwood as he comes right back at us. That is the lightweight version, so he should be very good on the brakes and around the corners, but we should have him on the straight. We do. So starting on the few past that, the McLaren pits. Now that is interesting. Okay, and Skip Scott is gaining on us, so he's not down and out. So P5 is under threat from a much faster car, but McLarens are pitting, which means I don't know how long they'll take, because we almost take about a minute sitting in the pits to refuel. Now, if they're having to refuel more frequently, then the fuel tanks aren't as big, so not spending as much time at a singular pit stop. So who knows? A podium might be on the cards here. Overall, I think we're pretty much... Actually, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say that we're guaranteed a top spot, but we haven't, because we've still got a couple of laps left. So I'm not going to say that. So you can't jinx me, because I said I wasn't going to say it. Right, he's gained again 10 seconds. If we're P5, it must be McLaren front 4 lockout then, because there's only 4 McLarens. So we're currently ahead of all the Lolas. And the Lotus 40s and the Brabham Repco that keeps disappearing and reappearing. So that's pretty good going. I'll take that. That's only look good for us. As we do look for other drives and other series. And ultimately we want to focus on the big one, which is obviously Le Mans. We want to give ourselves the best chance possible to drive one of the Mark IIs. This will just... back will slightly touch that curve, and it just wanted to pick us around. Chuck it down the outside. Past another Jag. We're down to 7 seconds now, with... Well, it's just ticked up actually to 34, so we're going to be lapped again, I believe. So we've got 2 laps left. And he will have to go past these lap cars as we do, but they don't quite deal with lap cars as good as we do, but they're just that much faster that they can compensate in just top speed. I don't think whoever's in that GT40 is going to help us much, because they're much better on the brakes as we are. But I've just never been that confident on the brakes on these. But we must be faster somewhere, because going around the outside of him, he's still okay. He's let out. Try and get it stopped. Through the chicane. Can't see a Lola just yet. What was that one? He's 5.9. He's gaining. We're still P2. He leads on the final lap. So... Oh, is he ahead or behind the leader? Because we can let the leader go past right at the end if he's behind. Risky, but then we don't have to do another lap. But then if he's behind, then it doesn't matter anyway, because he'll be a lap down. As we come up to a load of lap traffic, that Ferrari gave us trouble last time. Try and get around this Cobra. And block him off. Again, that's probably the best I've taken that corner all race on the final lap. Trying to cement our 5th place. Hopefully these cars won't cause us any trouble, but who knows. on the edge of our braking capability. Through the chicane. We've still got one more lap. Oh, he's had a problem. He's now 32 seconds behind. As we go wide, so there's nothing we need to worry about now. We've basically secured our 5th place overall. Not if we do that though. Again, that Ferrari is just, it's just a magnet for trouble. We're on the final lap. Again, we don't need to be doing this. What are we doing? Even though we're practically the last car that came across the line before the winner, we still want to best of these 3. Oh, he's just. Do you know what? I haven't got the words. That Ferrari's just absolute trouble. I want nothing to do with him. Even though I'm instigating it, because I don't need to be doing any of this, as we lock up, trying to avoid going to the back of the 906. The only 906. Were we getting before the line? Does it matter? Oh, we might have done. At the end of the day, we've got a 5th place overall, which is, I think, pretty exceptional. We've beaten all the Lolas, just the McLarens we didn't beat. And then we've got ourselves our 2nd win of the season and our 5th podium. So that certainly cements us in this championship fight. Now let's have a look at the overall results of the Group 7 class, and once again it is a McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4 lockout with Skip Scott rounding out the top 5 representing Lola. And for our class, for the 2nd time this season, we've managed to bag a win with Richard Attwood in 2nd place, David Piper in 3rd, and the 2 GT40s 4th, 5th of Ron Fry and Nick Cousins. So we go to the point scoring. We can see that Denny Holm still remains at the top of the leaderboard for the Group 7 class, and we have edged ever so slightly further ahead in our sports car class with 1 round left to go at Brands Hatch. So I hope you can all join us for then. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.